I'll delete it afterwards. It doesn't matter.
Sending data.
Okay. Is it connecting to all three?
YouTube's online. Facebook's online. Twitch is working. Still sending data to Twitch.
Okay, but it's... Okay. Yo, guys, do a sound test.
Check, check. Sound check, check. Check mic, check mic.
Check, check.
Microphone check. 1, 2.
Oh, it sounds like shit. It's like cloning it.
Is that because you're doing it from your phone?
No. Yeah, this isn't good. It's really cloning it bad.
Say it again.
Well, good thing we checked.
Stalin did nothing wrong.
Oh God, there's so many of them now. Oh hey, I have 2 audio captures. One audio input capture and one mic aux capture.
Remove the mic capture first. All right, we're going real off the grid here, people. And then make sure your audio capture is just capturing the Discord.
There you go. Should be it.
Is it still cloning it?
Well, we'll find out. It's kind of funny. Yeah. Here, you gotta hear it to like know what I'm talking about. Like it sounds like. It does not sound.
I mean, this is pure garbage, ladies and gentlemen.
Meh. I'm like a fat turtle. Like a fat fucking turtle. You know, you guys can talk. It'll.
Sorry, no, I'm just reading one of the.
Help us figure out what to do about it.
No, I was just reading one of the
You
fucking
hear it?
billion articles about the menthols again, just to make sure I have my shit straight.
That's the theme of my Twitter plug that I'm doing right now.
I thought more people would be fucking mad about this because this pissed me off a lot, but whatever. Anyway, yeah, what were the 2 things that I had as topics here? We don't have to stick to them. They're sort of just decent. Oh God, we're going with that picture.
Fuck yeah, we are.
Which one?
It's just look at the stream. Oh my God. Jeez. Let's see.
Go ahead and talk now.
Hi. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So no.
Stats?
Oh, we could talk about that. That wouldn't be such a bad topic, actually.
Oh, no, that's old.
Yo, in that article, we might pull that article up and you want to just read the part where that guy Greenberg is saying that they made that girl apologize for not telling them that she was 18, because that shit is next level. They told that girl it was her fucking fault.
Jesus. I did not know that. I didn't read about that. I was just like, oh, more shit came out about it. I'm sure
I'm kind of talking quiet because I wasn't really talking into the mic. How do I sound now?
We can hear you. I
Quite
can
No,
hear
good
no,
them.
yeah,
on this channel.
Javier.
Mhm.
Oh shit! I mean Cenk. Shit, we're live. Fuck. Sorry.
Yeah,
How
you got it. Why did you fix that?
how did I fix that? I'll show you how I fixed that. Because it was trying to dual record, right? It sounds good, and now I sound good.
Yeah,
Okay.
you did.
So all I did was actually I just mute the extra inputs.
No, there you go.
Yeah, I was like, because when I saw it going, the audio output capture and the desktop audio were both flaring, so we were getting double audio tracks for them. And then because we're firing off the Rodecaster, which is then fed into the desktop,
It was doubling it up. Yeah.
it's doubling everybody's up. So I just muted the mic input and I muted the desktop audio, and then suddenly, bam, Dan Cohen, motherfucker. Yeah.
So, since we're not like this isn't the official show yet, quote unquote.
Yeah.
The two topics were the menthol shit, and then have you guys seen discourse about
I
if
do want to remind you, John, we are actually live though.
Yeah, I
We're
know.
totally just doing our pre-show meeting right here. You know what though? Bonus content behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
The other
That's how
topic.
that works.
I'm gonna give Cenk his chair, and then I'll be back on. Give me 1 sec.
Yeah, you're good. You're
Turtle
good.
mode, re-engage.
Turtle mode,
I mean, this
re-engage.
is pure garbage, ladies and gentlemen.
It's so hard for me to get up because of my hip, but like I love being a turtle.
But I love being a turtle.
He loves turtles.
Let's check the sound quality real quick too.
Turtle mode. Re-engage. I have a communist turtle in my living room.
Turtles are the shell.
Oh, that's. It sounds so beautiful now. Yeah.
The other topic I thought was a good idea was the debate about
So the last
if,
thing you want to do is you want to.
universal daycare is okay or if a child
The
UBI
last thing
is.
you want to do is on OBS change the name to Blacklight Biden and then hit update all.
You said child daycares or UBI?
Yeah, well, that's the debate between
No, don't.
people
stop.
on the
Just
left
start
and
pointing
people on the right. Both groups are fucking arguing endlessly about it.
Who's
But
arguing?
for our purposes, the liberals want universal daycare, and the lefties want either the child UBI or both. And like, obviously, the answer is both. But like, the merits of one or the other are an interesting thing to argue because they do have upsides and purported downsides for certain of them. Especially the universal daycare thing. So we can explore that a little bit, but those are just ideas. If we end up talking about other shit, then that's all good.
Wouldn't there be like actual math involved though? You can actually like track how much
yeah,
these cost.
No, actually, that's a good question as to like what ends up being more expensive than the other. But the crux of it is just that there's an argument that universal daycare benefits rich white women more than anyone else,
What?
while a child
Good.
UBI basically benefits everybody equally. And then like, what are the merits of one or the other? And yeah, no, I mean, it's interesting. I think the answer obviously is it's pretty obvious that you should just have both, essentially. But
I want to know how.
then it gets into
First thing I want to know is how every motherfucker who's calling themselves an anarchist wants to bloat the state. Because like I'm fine with this, but I'm obviously a statist. I'm a communist, right?
Yeah.
So let's be fucking real, all right? When anarchists want to bitch and call me a statist, and then they immediately turn around and are like, we should have universal health care. Like that is either an admission of defeat or I don't want to hear your fucking statist critique anymore. All right? That's number one.
No, that's when they go back and say ideally we would abolish everything.
And ideally, I would have a machine that would blow me 24/7. But you know what's funny? Even the vacuum cleaner motor breaks. So we got to be realistic.
We know. We tried.
That's why you gotta have a second one on deck at all times, just ready to go. Just do a quick switch off.
Listen, 2 is 1 and 1 is none.
Yeah. What?
That's an old. That's like a prepper saying.
Elderly
concepts like-
childcare.
You need 2 of everything because the assumption is 1 will break. So 1 is none because it will be broken, and 2 is 1.
Oh. I thought they were talking about making sure they
That's really retarded logic.
I thought that you were talking about the fact that like you just put 2 fingers in the stink.
Yeah, that
Because
too.
it'll feel like one.
Yeah, 2 is 1,
Yeah.
and 1 is none.
And you won't feel one.
Yeah.
Because you're
See, it still
fucking-
checks out.
your 500
The right wing gets us again. Those
Midwestern
clever
living
preppers.
wife, who you can also live in. She's an
No,
extra bone
sometimes
layer.
one is enough.
Yeah. But no, I'm not shitting you right now. First off, I just want to go on the record and say, like, every time I say something, I get called a fucking statist, and then the anarchists turn around and scream how we need more state programs. So, like, honestly,
What actual anarchists are you talking? Are you just talking about Vouch?
uh,
You gotta
Twitter-
No,
let
he's
it go,
probably
man.
just
You
talking about
Twitter
gotta
anarchists.
stop thinking about them.
Twitter anarchists.
Okay, all
I
right.
just put it on the record. Love the anarchists, but also fuck you. Tired of hearing.
Plenty of them call you lib for voting, though, and then
Yeah.
don't vote. So those people are
Oh.
earnestly that. But I feel like most of the anarchists are just fucking. Most of the self-described anarchists really aren't that close to anarchists, whereas most of the self-described tankies at least have the intellectual rigor to tell you to go fuck yourself if you ask them to vote.
They're
So,
rolling
I
with the
mean-
tank. They're rolling with the whole tank.
There's at least that.
Yeah. All right. That's number one. Number two. What was the original question? I remember you were asking what show we're on, and I said this is the Sons of Trier podcast and live stream,
Yeah.
hosted by your good old boys, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th Sons of Trier. Right after son number one, numero uno, one Mr. Jorge Marxeros.
Oh, that's my cousin,
Oh, is it really?
Jorge Marcero.
Ooh. That might not be the same guy. Was he born in Trier, Germany?
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, I must be thinking of a different guy. I'll remember the guy's name later.
Hotemel Trier Teco.
But I'm your host, Dan Cohen. I'm in full turtle mode. Relaxing. Very chill stream vibes. I'm joined by... Hold on, let's see if I do this right. John Sinclair.
The other Jew.
Oh, shit.
It's
Ah.
it's just a two-party Jew party system around here.
We really do have a Jew party system around here.
It's a
pretty
two-party
great.
Jew party system.
And spiritually, the first son of Trier was also one of us. What was his name? I'll remember later. You know who else I'm joined by? EattheRich.
Oh, my new name is Gangstacles.
I'm gonna write that down. That has to go in the HR forms, gangs.
Gangstacles the third.
Now, is that one
Don't
more
ask.
two?
Don't ask what happened to the first two.
Fair enough. So, with
Yeah, for tax purposes, is that spelled with a CLEAS or CA?
No, it's got a SZ. It's got a SZ.
I was worried we were going to be reasonable. Thank goodness.
Okay, so I have that, Mr. Gangstacles. That's capital GANGSTA apostrophe
SZT
Gangsters.
with the extra gangster.
Gangstacles. Okay.
CLEEZ, comma, my steez, comma, further bars.
Yeah, see, you get it. You get it.
Yeah, because it rhymes better.
Okay, so I will be no longer referring to EattheRich, and you are now Gangstacles. I'm just making some quick notes here. All right.
It's like the Greek philosopher of gangsters.
Fair enough. And I'm also joined by Cenk Engels.
I'm self-hating capitalist. I'm back for another round.
Ah, man. We're having so much fun with the intros, and you just do the stock one.
It's the stock one.
Ugh.
I mean, I'm staring at a communist turtle right now. I got that going for
Yeah.
me.
I'm in full turtle.
I'm in full turtle.
I'm so vegged. If I was on your couch right now, you'd be like, he's turning that into a hot couch. This is the hottest couch.
I'm gonna have to burn it afterwards.
Oh, I'm gonna sweat so bad on it. Oh. You know who else? I'm
Deep,
doing?
that's deep hot couch lore. Is what a man's capacity to heat a couch is.
Oh,
Like how did this couch get so hot? That's like a prequel to the hot couch saga.
it was
Oh, you
cute.
know how it got
You know who
hot.
can write a good prequel.
I know who can write a good prequel. It'd be The True Horror.
Oh, hey, what's up? Yeah, I was considering
Here.
tonight I was gonna start going by my real name, which is Joel Greenberg. But then this other guy named Joel Greenberg, like he was writing these awful letters to Roger Stone that just came out. So I don't think I'm gonna go by Joel Greenberg. Actually, having read this,
You know what? A good
True.
name
I didn't know
would be?
you were one of us. Greenberg's quite a name that's similar to ours.
Yeah.
oh no, it was it was Americanized from green. No, I don't know.
You know what? If you'd like some other name recommendations,
It was-
two
it
really
was
cool
ch-
names are
it was
Matt
changed
Gates
in
and
Ellis
Roger
Island.
Stone. So you could just change your name to Roger Stone. I'm sure he's never been associated with anything nefarious.
Roger
Yeah.
Stone is a fuck.
I was just gonna say, Gangster Cleese's actual name is Joel Greenberg, or Joel Cohen. Excuse me, it's Joel
Sure.
Cohen. I gotta get that right.
Gangsta Cleese Greenberg.
He's the other Cohen.
GG.
Man,
Gangsta
Why are you
Cleese.
using my government name?
I shouldn't. You're right. I really shouldn't. I apologize.
Well, you know what? Since you're using his government name, I'm going to use your government name, Mr. J. Epstein.
All right, folks, calm down. It's
Ooh.
J-A-Y. That's my first name. It's just J-A-Y.
Yeah.
So there we go.
He's J. Jeffrey Epstein.
He's going full Homer Simpson on you.
My middle name is Jeffrey.
Yes. Completely different. But you can see why we selected John Sinclair. Easy mistake. That's all right though. You know what my real name is? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna break the stage name for a moment. You guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously Ghislaine Maxwell. I've been here the whole time. Oh,
That's why there was that Photoshop poster of her podcasting that everybody saw. Man, now it all makes sense.
Yeah, she did that.
First,
live
everybody
show.
was like, she's doing a podcast, and then they were like, no, this is Photoshop.
Yeah. Well, she did that live show last year. Thank God nobody showed up.
Oh yeah, that'd have been terrible.
Yeah.
We might have continued the show.
Yeah, really. You know what though? We actually should tour as the podcast that will just debate the audience.
That actually,
Incredibly
yeah.
aggressive.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Yeah. Well, bring your libertarian uncle and we will fucking yell at him as a 5-man unit.
Like as a surprise. Oh shit. Oh,
Yeah.
you know that sounds like a thing, man. Actually, we was joking and all, but that sounds like a thing.
We
Oh,
didn't
we're gonna try.
we didn't tell you about how the first live show went.
No, it basically already happened like that. Like
Yeah.
there was a
Yeah,
bunch
yeah,
of guys
that's
that were
pretty
like,
close.
"Pops, we're taking you to an escape room," and then it turns out to be
One-
actually surprise podcasters harangue you about your shitty right
yeah,
reviews.
yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah.
You gotta set the stage and inform them with who was all in the audience. First off, we had Mr. Fashy Boy, $3 million rich guy
Oh, perfect.
who
Yeah.
just is this communist?
yeah, that was the best line of the night. That's
Yeah.
communism.
That
You
sounds
clearly don't watch the show.
Yeah. It was 3 people who don't watch the show, and one of my boys from Du Bois showed up. And
Oh, he was a trooper though. He loved the show.
yeah, no, he's a real shout out to that fan. But,
I'm just still picturing
He
some
was
type
so
of
entertained.
Yeah.
some type of successful Fash just getting out of his like fucking Aston Martin or whatever in the little town where he probably hangs out to like lord
Yeah,
over
we don't have
people.
an Aston Martin dealer anywhere nearby. You got to think smaller.
yeah,
Well, like
it's a really
Whatever.
new Subaru.
I'm just picturing him getting out of his car and being like,
I
my
personally
favorite
sold it to
comedy
him.
bar.
Take that thought and make it more like spoiled milk.
No, for real though, like we have a theater that I like pretty much any time I want I can rent a weekend for like 125, which isn't bad, right? So
No,
we,
not at all.
So like all we have to do is put a disclaimer on the show that our opinions are not theirs, which is
Right.
takes no effort and is true.
It's true. It's true.
It's so true.
It's as true as possible.
But like we really should just like be the podcast that fights people.
But that's part of it though. It's got to be that you set them up.
Yeah.
It's got to be that you drag them there, and then we just fucking just completely just like 4 or 5 people just turn on an audience member. Like we'll have lighting for
no,
it. We'll like bring up a spot on this asshole.
We introduce ourselves and we kind of
No. Like ultimately, there's gonna be that asshole that shows up out of nowhere for himself.
So
don't have
you're
to
saying
turn
you
the
don't even have to do it.
You don't have to do
Yeah,
shit.
they'll do it
man.
on their own.
They
fine.
just show the fuck up, and they think they're so clever. They'd be like, tell a joke, and you're like, all right, let's tell a joke then.
Yeah, like we got heckled, like so like we're new to presenting that kind of content, right? This is our first time. For some people, it's like the first live performance, right?
Yeah.
Especially a spoken word material. So we're like,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, we got to do this, and then we realized that everything we had written for a younger, more left-leaning audience, and that is not what we got.
Not even a little bit.
Not like we aimed for mid-30s people who hate capitalism. We swung and missed. So kind of sit there with a thumbs up our ass, and then immediately the audience, because they're like, well, this is small enough, they can hear us. We just start getting catcalled. Immediately challenged. So of course, internet rules apply. Dan Cohen sees a fight a brewing, and he has been challenged. And then, I swear to God, this rich motherfucker points right at Gangstacles and is like, can you tell me about the phenomena of black on black crime? And I was like,
Wow.
yeah.
Mind you, I get the shit all the time.
Yes.
It's nothing new.
So
Like,
immediately,
okay, I'll play ambassador to the black people.
yeah, it immediately became a 4-on-1.
This is just I'm just having like flashbacks like in my brain to like just years of black comedians like we'll all share this bit with you, just like the way that the white guy sounds because he's cherry picked the word, like the old Dave Chappelle bit on affirmative action hire, like what I mean, like
Yeah.
he's had this shit, this stale ass fucking Rush Limbaugh or whoever buzzword floating around in his head, just waiting for some uppity black dude. Right?
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
he's
yeah,
had
without
it.
a
He's
doubt.
had it.
Yeah.
He's been locked and loaded.
Yeah.
And
The best part, all 4 of them Biden voters. Everybody there was a Biden voter.
Well, every single one of them was actually black.
Yeah.
I'm social progressive, I just as much as anybody, but I want to be clear. We need to rein in this welfare state because I can see a black person right now. And that's what I'm thinking.
Well,
Like-
no. It was exactly in the role that he expected to see a black person. As
Jesus
like completely
Christ.
subservient on stage performing for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
I mean, go ahead. Tell me I'm wrong.
No,
Gangstacles, any disagreement from that?
you ain't wrong.
It is exactly the way that it was expected.
yeah. So that was. Well, we
But
were-
Yeah.
what gets me is they think they're so original. They think they get so smug and stuff, and you're like,
It's
Bruh,
like the
like-
stupidest
like, you're
question,
not new, like,
tell me
you-
about black
you're
on
just-
black violence.
you're not even an original Nazi. You're like a garden variety, little common.
I can
Yeah.
pick the.
He's
Like
white
the-
tier. It's white
Like
tier.
the 6th or 7th photocopy of a picture of a Nazi.
Yeah,
like all
Where you keep
shitty and
downing-
washed out.
Where you keep downing the toner intentionally to sort of
Yeah.
obscure it a little bit. Where
Yeah.
you're like, maybe if this won't be quite so bad if I just
Yeah.
wash it a bit.
Yeah. It really is the Funnos brand cereal of Nazism. Like
The Funnos.
like, Come on, we've heard this shit. This is easy. Oh, and then it was a rousing defense of Amazon as job creators.
Oh yeah.
That was
Jesus
great.
Christ.
I'm telling you, I'm not gonna lie. I want to
Exactly as expected.
I want to do that again this year.
It was fun though. It was fun.
I think this time we're gonna just bill it as like, you know, we're just gonna brawl the audience. Bring your libertarian uncle.
Bring your libertarian.
Please bring your libertarian uncle.
I mean, I feel like it wouldn't be unreasonable to bill for this. Like, you know, like I feel like it wouldn't be unreasonable to request a healthy sum, you know, to do this to somebody.
Honestly,
As a
those
service.
make it more fun because when you don't have a confrontation, it's different.
Right.
Like we were prepared to put on a show, but then we heard I heard a heckler, and I'm like, oh, okay, we're doing hecklers now. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit rusty.
But it also sucks like that it was in the past. Like, I mean, I would hate to think like, I feel like now there's literally the full horror of both parties is at all times on display at this point. I feel like now people might be less likely to try to stand up and just talk shit to people advocating.
No.
No, this is the prime time to do it.
Never.
They feel justified in doing it because they feel like they've solved the problem. Like,
But
I voted for the right
There's
guy.
some constants in the
I
universe.
don't need to do it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't
Also
need to care anymore. I've
insane,
already
though.
fixed it.
It's also insane. It's all becoming so incredibly indefensible. Like all the topics that we rolled around for tonight. Like, okay, the fucking Democrats get elected and then start banning substances again. Like it's like 1980, 90, whatever.
But
And like,
true.
and then the fucking Matt
It's a-
Gaetz thing. Oh Jesus Christ!
It's a
Hold
it's a
on
woman
while I
of
touch
color
my
is the
pearls.
vice president. A woman of color is the vice president. It can't possibly be wrong.
Yeah.
But no, this motherfucker is still in office. Like I've got the thing pulled up. Like I'm staring at it right now. Like I thought we'd use it later, but fuck it. Okay, all right. So this outlet has obtained these letters that Joel Greenberg wrote to Roger Stone when he was begging to shove a bunch of Bitcoin up Roger's ass and get a pardon with Roger's cooperation. Which I guess he just wanted to give Roger money as a proxy to the president that Roger would then go and suck the president's dick and get him a pardon. I guess was their premise there. I don't know. Allegedly.
Whoa. Allegedly.
That's trickle
Thank
down,
you.
huh?
It's very important.
Well, it's not
trickle
alleged.
up.
He
That's
did-
trickle up.
He did. Yeah. Let's trickle onto Joel's chin.
Yeah.
But listen to this fucking shit, man. Okay, in those letters, Greenberg detailed his relationship with Gates. He confessed to paying young women for sex, and he claimed that he, Gates, and others had sex with a minor. They believed to be 19 at the time. Okay, we've heard all this before. This is whatever. Greenberg said he learned she was underage on September 4th, 2017 from an anonymous tip and quickly contacted Gates. Immediately, I called the congressman and warned him to stay clear of this person and informed him she was underage, Greenberg wrote. He was equally shocked and disturbed by this revelation. Greenberg continued in the handwritten draft that
he's lying.
oh yeah, they're full of shit. But this is the part. This is the thing to me where it's like I'm not even gonna say mask off. This is like this is like you can see the eyeballs and the skull. This is Beetlejuice shit. This is you pulled your whole face off, okay? This is Beetlejuice in the closet shit. Greenberg continued on the handwritten draft that he confronted the then 17-year-old and explained to her how serious of a situation this was, how many people she put in danger.
Yeah.
She apologized and recognized that by lying about her age, she endangered many people, he continued.
And
There was
then-
no further contact with this individual until after her 18th birthday.
Oh, when he immediately resumed paying her for sex.
Yes, but I mean, like, that's sleazy enough. But just the idea, whether you did it or not, to fantasize in this letter to Roger Stone about actually turning this around on her and scolding her for tempting them, the responsible congressman and his responsible sex assistant. Like,
Hey,
where can I hire a good sex assistant? Is anyone free?
listen.
I'm sure Greenberg is free now. He's certainly not going to be doing this gig for Gates anytime soon. Jesus Christ.
True, I would like to point out that there's a well-known fucking and documented problem in this country of 17 and 16-year-olds grooming congressmen. This is a serious fucking concern, and I don't appreciate you making light of it.
For decades, almost every congressman has been affected by this terrible plight.
How many children coerced Jeffrey Epstein into sex? That's the real question.
Allegedly, all of them.
Isn't this like, I don't know, man. Like sometimes I hear this shit and I'm like, well, if you become a congressman, doesn't like, don't any of the State Departments or like, you know, the CIA or whatever brief you like, hey, this is like 100% how you're gonna get fucking honeypotted, so don't do it.
Yeah,
And like isn't this like rule number fucking one?
Yes.
Is you're
And
not
they
supposed to do this
immediately
because
ignore
it's
it. All that information, they just take it. They get told it directly by the FBI, and they say to themselves, "I'll never fall for that shit," and then they proceed to immediately fall for that shit every time.
I just want to point out that you just said that the CIA is warning them against it. Like the CIA did not find a child to sell to these congressmen to get dirt on them so that they would be assets in some capacity. What do you think the CIA is
here's
for?
your child in box of menthols.
There's probably like stacks of papers at the CIA where it's like all the times that they failed to get into Gates's pants because he was too busy like actually doing a sex crime with or to someone else. Like
Yeah.
no, he was gonna come to the bait, but then he just jumped on somebody else. It was horrible. All this money and time.
We really should have stopped it, but then he would have realized we could have stopped him.
Yeah.
The thing is that Gates like when it comes to the CIA and Gates, basically Gates out sex offendered the sex traffickers. Because when they were like, listen, Mr. Gates, you're going to be an asset for the CIA, or we're going to blackmail you with this information. Gates literally looked at them, did a line of coke off a 12-year-old's ass, and was like, YOLO, bitch.
Yeah.
Kept going. Like,
that is how it seems.
my
But
God.
that, like, okay, so the right's indefensible, obviously. All that shit is out in the open. The Democrats are indefensible,
Whoa.
obviously.
What do you mean the right?
Yeah.
I think you mean the Family Values Party, sir. Can we give them their proper name?
Yeah, the people who protect children from pedophiles by.
Oh, that's right. I
selling
forgot.
them to-
They had that whole entire president that was going to kill all the pedophiles.
Yeah.
I forgot about
Yeah.
that.
Well, you can't
Yeah.
you can't kill them if you don't know who they are.
That's right.
What do
How
you
gonna-
mean you lost 1,500?
To know to know
I don't
one's
know.
enemy, one must know one's enemy as oneself.
Yeah.
Duh.
I don't know,
If you
man.
wanna
It's
fight pedophiles, you got to be a pedophile.
it's
Duh.
almost May now. It's getting really hazy. It's hard to remember, but I think he had them all like secretly hologram killed or something. I think it did happen, but it seems like a hazy other timeline almost.
Well, what you're going to find out if you
Homicide.
actually dig into it and do your own research, right? As I obviously have, as I pull this directly out of my ass.
Do your own research.
Yeah, do your own research.
I see the documents, people.
What you'll
Secondhand
find out
knowledge.
is that Matt Gaetz actually didn't have sex with any of those women, and he in fact was using them as an info dump. He was getting the information on who was committing sex crimes. That's what he was paying for.
Right.
What Mr. Gates was doing was he was trying to arrange for these children to go in and use them as witnesses against the corrupt institution known as family court. And then we're going to have 1776 all over again.
Garbage, ladies and gentlemen.
He was hunting out to make the how they were making the frogs gay.
Yeah.
It's true.
You know, this is a more minor point on my end, but like, how much money would you be willing to bet on the fact that when Greenberg called Gates about this shit in a fucking panic, he called him on his cell phone? Any cell phone fucking conversation can be listened into. Like, it's so easy because all you have to do is fucking tap into the public cell phone tower that's like right next to fucking the Capitol Hill, and you can hear any phone call that happens that way. That's why they all have like office phones. But yeah, no, he called Greenberg he called Gates on his personal and was like, "This is a private conversation. I gotta call him on his cell phone," as if there's any such fucking thing. I know that's like a really minor point, but I'd be willing to bet fucking money when like these arraignments come out or whatever, he's like, I called him, so like fucking any government was listening in at that point too.
Like
most
him and his
certainly.
buddies, they're almost in sovereign citizen mode, right? Because his dad's like that's how they grew up, right? Like if it's him and his buddies, they're just like, we're gonna do all the shit in public, and then like time will pass, and we'll get off, and people will be like, just forget about all the shit we did. Like
Yeah,
that's what he thinks is
if
gonna
we
happen.
keep doing more and bigger and worse shit, people will
Yeah.
forget all the actual crimes we're committing, and they'll be focused on the next big thing.
Yeah.
And to
Like-
be fair to them, it's clearly worked for Donald Trump for 4.5 years.
Yeah.
Like I mean, them boys, he's just doing Duke boys shit at this point.
Yeah.
He's
I
just
don't remember
doing
the
sex
episode
crimes,
Hold
sliding
on
across
now.
the hood of the General Lee,
I
and
don't-
hauling ass off into the sunset.
Yeah, I don't remember that episode of the Dukes of Hazzard where they're like, "Oh, the
Except a
Duke
lot
brothers
less
are at
cool.
it again."
Paying for
Definitely
a
not that cool, no.
17-year-old to have sex with them.
Oh, there they go. Boss Hogg's after him again for fucking a child.
For fucking a child.
I don't remember that. I'm gonna tell you, I remember some things about the Dukes. I am a little hazy. I don't know the full lore, but I don't seem to
Just
remember
imagine,
It's not
Just
quite,
imagine
it's
the
not quite
17-year-old.
brony culture for you.
No, it's not.
I gotta thank them for Daisy Dukes.
Yes.
yeah, true.
Yeah, that's
big
fair, that's fair.
contribution, big contribution to society
Big up.
as a whole.
Big ups.
Big if true.
No, imagine if it's that show, but the whole time the Duke boys are in office still. Like, I wonder if they're gonna take our seats away. Well, I don't know. Make us left, and then a fucking cop car just crashed into a fucking mountainside and exploded. I wonder if we're still representatives of the. Yeah, I guess we are. Nobody's told. Like, it's as if they're just the whole time
Would that
of the.
would that make Pelosi Boss Hogg then?
Yes.
Okay, that kind of rules because I can just imagine a roly-poly Nancy Pelosi just like that damn Gates boy had it again.
There
We're
he
gonna
goes
catch
again.
him.
And Now,
We're gonna-
now he's chasing 16-year-olds.
Oh,
We're gonna catch him, and then like whoever is the bumbling sidekick is like, "Yeah, Nancy, like we caught Trump," and she's gonna be like, "Shut up,
Gotta be
you," or
Schumer.
whatever.
yeah, it's got to be.
I want to
gotta
see
be
Nancy throw her
Schumer.
kid off.
Oh shit.
But no, I've been so distracted by the horror of the Gates thing, I didn't even see the fucking menthol ban shit. Like I knew it went down. I knew it went down.
It passed me. I didn't even know it was a thing until they mentioned it.
That
thought-
shit pissed me off so much because it's not just menthols that they're banning the blunt wraps. The beautiful blunt wraps.
Which
Right.
ones? All
We
of
love
them?
our blunt
All
wraps,
of
don't
the
we, folks?
everyone that's
We love a
flavored.
good
You
spliff.
still get they'll still sell like plain flavored blunt
Flavored
wraps.
ones?
Motherfucker.
So like, but that's basically all of them. So like
Like the
all
White
the Swishers-
Owls and the Swishers.
Yeah.
And the
the
okay.
Swishers, the Entourages, every one of them
Does that
that
affect
is
Black
not
and Mild?
plain. Maybe generic Black and Milds will still be a thing. You'll still be able to get blunt wrap. You just won't be able to get them in any other flavor besides like generic, essentially. And you'll
That's
still be
right.
able
That's
to
the
get
most liberal
cigarettes.
shit.
No, it is.
Hey, come
God.
on, man. Come on. Now
So,
here's
like-
the thing. If the kids are smoking the menthol cigarettes and they're not listening to the sousaphone, how are they learning? They don't learn by osmosis.
It's true.
So let me get this right. They went through all that effort of training people to smoke cigarettes, and then getting them on blunt wraps, and these people they have to have one every day,
Yep.
But it's just so.
every single day, and then they take them away just
And then they
because
ban 'em.
you're black.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
like
there's
No, it's like
okay.
only slightly scientifically more informed than being like, okay, we can't have fried chicken in urban environments. Like it's
Yeah.
only like a
No,
degree
hang
or
on, I
two
can
more
make-
than that.
Hang on,
It's
I
the
can
same
racism
fucking
my way into this argument. I'm ready.
Oh,
Ready.
boy.
Here we go. Listen, there's huge rates of obesity, and in particular, it does affect the African American community at a significantly higher level than other communities. one of the #1 causes of obesity in the African American community is apparently fried chicken. That's what all the data says. And by the data, I, of course, mean all of my racist friends and their clan hoods. Therefore, the only thing I can do to help the black community, beyond anything else, beyond any other opportunities, is ban fried chicken.
You
For black people.
For black people and
I
black
love
people.
chicken.
Well, it would be
I'm
everybody
gonna
in an
have
urban
chicken
environment.
still.
Oh, they would
Yes.
say everybody and then still
Yeah,
keep
no.
eating fried chicken.
We're banning fried chicken in urban environments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 points. One,
is-
I've already read this article in the New York Times.
It literally already exists.
Yeah, so like you think you've come up with this crazy facetious argument? No, that's in there.
It's already there.
We're defining urban area as the space 10 feet in a sphere around a black person. That is how we're defining urban area.
Point,
It's fine. It's fine. We're just banning all music with rhythm.
Yeah.
point number 2, and John, as a policy wonk, you'll appreciate this part of it. Do you notice how liberalism almost means like there's no conception of universalism until it's like something you can use you can use universalization to punish one group?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's the whole sentence.
Okay, so what this struck me as is the idea that to the liberal, like why people are poor is about a set of behaviors. And
It is. If they
that
just stopped buying menthol cigarettes and eating fried chicken, they'd be fine.
Yeah, know, man, all these black people out there eating avocado toast and fried menthol chicken, they're not.
But
And there's
it's
something
again,
about their
it's
cranium.
the idea that
Something about the shape of their head.
Look at how
being
look at how big their craniums are, man. Pull out your calipers and measure. Let the kid buy the record player.
Some
Run
big
some
air.
Grand Funk
It's some
Railroad.
big air sucking nostrils.
The big
Nozzles.
I had these sick calipers, but I broke them. I tried to measure Jason Miller's head.
I
Making
tried
fun
to
of
measure
Jason
his
Miller, and
ass
they
to see if he was
fucking
a pawn.
exploded.
So
Oh my God! Did you know they've got thick skin and they can't feel pain?
I think that's from one of Jack London's reviews of one of the old boxing matches he saw back there in the 20s, I think.
Yes. Again,
Did you know they can't see their reflection? That's vampires.
he's a black fire.
Count Blackula.
Count Blackula.
the thing that the conception I wanted to get across here is just the idea that like blackness and people who are African American are separate things to liberals, and that blackness really is like they view as basically contagious poverty and a set of mannerisms that people who are poor perform these manners, and that's why they're poor. And what are these manners? Well, you look at economically, who is most likely to smoke cigarettes? It's poor people. Who's most likely to be obese? It's poor people. All of these sets of behaviors about how they eat and smoke cigarettes, etc., are things they do not because they're already poor, but are the things that poor people do. And if you just simply subtract those those actions from their list of options to do, that they'd stop being poor. That then all of a sudden
possessed by otherness.
Yeah, and
Corrupted
it just
by corrupted by the blackness.
You know what all
That's
these black people
casteism.
need? They just need to gentrify their neighborhoods a little more. Like, we just need to put a few more, like, latte shops in there, maybe an art studio, a yoga studio, an
I
They
feel
need to get
studio.
they need to get off their asses and start working harder than they already do, which is harder than us.
So
there's always that attack on any kind of cultural like mannerism or dialect or just even way of standing or being. Like, wasn't well spoken a code word for a long time? It still kind of is.
yeah.
Like,
Articulate.
Yeah.
Articulate, yeah.
yeah. Oh, articulate. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now, as a side note, now if your friend really doesn't articulate a point well, you're not basically allowed to say it because of all the
you can't.
racism liberals coded into it.
Yeah, it's
bullshit.
game over for that shit. Shit's
Yeah.
over.
and
can't.
There's a couple words you can say that we can't.
I
handful.
have the power.
It's
But
just
what
you
did
holding
it cost
an N.
me?
You're just
Oh,
in a
but
loincloth
But
holding
what
an
did
N.
it cost?
It's like that
Definitely
David Brooks article where he's like, oh, well, class isn't actually like, an economic hierarchy thing. It's like the different tables in a school lunchroom where, you got the jocks and you got the nerds and the goths and all that. He conceives of classes, well, you got the, you've got the rural poor people and you've got like the urban poor people and you've got like, the sort of metropolitan middle class and, okay, so if being poor is bad, then like, all you have to do in their conception is just make it so that, the urban poor and the rural poor act like the metropolitan middle class, however you want to put it, the sort of all things considered NPR listeners or whatever, that they
Hey
just
now.
did that,
Hey now.
then they'd all of a sudden they'd fit in with them and you'd erase that problem, which is
like the-
fucking stupid.
I don't
Because
need
the
you
fact
to,
of the matter
we
is
don't
that-
need to be unnecessarily
You're
attacking.
getting
all
you're getting
things
too far
considered.
into it, man.
I
No-
disagree
now
on that point.
It's rather simple. All you have to do is just go far away from me.
What did the
Counterpoint,
insane
very
woman
quickly.
say?
Counterpoint.
Oh, okay.
I protest your protestation of attacking NPR listeners unnecessarily on the basis of the moniker unnecessarily. I disagree because they should be attacked relentlessly.
I come. What more do you want? I literally come on a podcast to be attacked relentlessly. How much
Yes.
more do you want from me?
Well, the rest of your kind.
Oh, okay.
I'm
my
just
point's
thinking
over.
of-
Continue.
I'm thinking of, as I often am these days, I think of her a lot. I'm
You're an
thinking of
NPR
the
guy? Oh god.
I'm thinking of the woman from the All Gas No Brakes video where it's the Donald Trump book signing. I'm thinking of that woman that tells them all that stuff about that they know their slave master and she's from this weird tribe in Selma, Alabama, and all that stuff.
Dude, you're married.
What-
You got to stop thinking about her so
I
much.
think about her all the time. And one of the things that she says is the motherfucker says, "Well, why are you the only cat from your squad that's at a fucking Donald Trump Jr. book signing, weirdo?" I mean, he doesn't say that because he's super nice, but she says that the rest of her people were not presentable enough
For people.
to show up at the mall for a Donald Trump book signing. And it's just like, okay, she's an insane like cultist, like in the rural South at a Donald Trump Jr. book signing a couple years ago during Trump frenzy. She's batshit. So really any kind of dialogue about presentable is like, aren't you on that woman's level? Aren't you pretty much instantly like, as soon as you start talking about like what level of like, aren't you instantly just
You're
an
just
insane
doing-
woman at a Donald Trump book signing?
You're just doing it. Yeah, you're doing internalized racism. John, you'll know this better than I will.
This cult sucks. We don't even get Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
No, they love it. They got plenty of Kool-Aid, man. Coors Light.
It's just actually Kool-Aid. There's no poison.
Yeah.
You just
You don't
we
get-
heard
What?
black people really like Kool-Aid, so we
Yeah.
brought
Well,
it
they're
as
gonna-
much as we
they're
could.
They want to
grape
experience the
flavored.
Kool-Aid for once.
All I
all
know is
grape.
you better
Oops,
everybody
all
better
grape.
enjoy their everybody better enjoy their Kool-Aid now, because I know 2 flavors that's getting banned within 6 months.
Yeah. No, we're not
No,
gonna have orange or purple drinks soon at this
No,
rate.
it's gone. It's gone.
Fucking
Just
shit.
buy it up now.
John, weren't these people just jerking themselves off like relentlessly to Hillbilly Elegy?
Oh yeah. Oh god. They love that too. They love anything that like
Well,
you say, otherizes the shit out of a group that they feel like they're not part of.
I only have this to say about Hillbilly Elegy, which is that I'm not totally convinced that JD Vance isn't Jewish because the entire
I've
book
never heard
and
of this.
yeah, the entire well, okay, I'll fill
It's-
you in,
it's
Gangsticles. The entire book is a book about how much he hates his mom, and then he goes to an Ivy League school.
Yeah.
So I kind of think he's Jewish. Like that's completely a narrative that a Jew would write.
Yeah.
But yeah,
if we take here's Hillbilly Elegy in the short form, right? This guy JD Vance, utter piece of shit as a person, basically
Yeah.
grows up in a typical Appalachian household in Ohio, and they have to move further down Appalachia to where it's poorer. He lives with I believe
Kentucky?
his sister, his mother. I think Kentucky or Tennessee, something like that. But he moves in with them. The mother has a severe opioid addiction. They're very, very poor. J.D. Vance ends up calling the cops on his mother repeatedly, and then he goes to an Ivy League school, and he serves the role. Well, he serves a two-purpose role. One, J.D. Vance's existence supports the narrative that your cultural affectations are like reflective of the wealth that you ought to have. So he's pure meritocracy in their worldview. Never mind that, of course, they basically picked him up on like a scholarship for whites because merit is always money, and Asians would just have his spot anyway. But they they're like, look at this novel white person from the sticks. We're filling our white quota, right?
Yeah.
So he's affirmative action.
He's like a poor man. JD Vance is a poor man's Del Shores
Yeah.
for
like a
people that
shaman.
don't like to have fun and watch Leslie Jordan bounce around.
Well, no, he's more insidious than that, because then since he's white, he gives white people the opportunity to criticize poor white people and attack them relentlessly, and say basically like they deserve it.
Yeah,
Look at how
their
bad they
fault.
Yeah.
are. Yeah. No,
But I
never
bet
mind,
they
like-
don't propose a solution.
If only they would stop living in trailers and eating avocado toast, they could
Yes.
then buy a house and be better off.
Yeah, because obviously those options are available to them. That's why they picked the shittier one, because they're just
Avocado
more
toast.
like that's what Hillbilly Elegy is.
That's how good avocado toast is.
And I seem to recall, like, that movie came out, I think, last year. Was it last year?
I think it was a couple years ago, actually. At this point,
Was it? Because I know it was all over Netflix with like Glenn Close and that maybe Amy Adams, and they just it's completely terrible fucking movie. And honestly, like, it's disrespectful to their careers, and it's just like, a chance to oogle at these fucking, pardon my expression here, but essentially what they want to do, that jungle monkey stereotype, they want to apply that to poor whites as well. So it's like you're going out in the wilderness as Jane Goodall and fucking exploring these subhuman creatures.
Look at this exotic Bethany.
Like
Yeah.
like the letters
I think you
Like
mean
the letters-
Bethanique.
Yeah,
like the letters that Martin Shkreli wrote from jail. Like, he would been sent there to observe like these degenerates. Like, you're
Yes.
motherfucker, you're in jail too. Like,
I like it. I'm gonna call it exotic Ashley theory.
yeah.
There's this accelerationist idea that Nick Land puts forth, that essentially the rich are a genetically different species than the poor. And
Yeah, that's not how that works.
no, but rich people really love that idea. They would never ever,
Of course they do.
yeah, they'd never say it.
It's all just Barney. You are special. You're the only one.
Yeah.
Well, the greatest hyperbole has always been their luxury, right? Like, they've always been free because of, their excellent material conditions to just go around and say whatever.
right.
And then if people are pissed off in some way that affects them, like, at all, they could be like, well, no, I'm joking. But then privately, they do think. It's just like we're a different species.
Everybody knows it's not privately. Everybody.
Yeah, it's
fucking
not
knows.
that private. It's,
Yeah.
it's private in the sense that they posted it on their public Facebook.
yeah.
Well, I didn't mean it. It was just a joke. It was just a racist joke. See, I'm funny. Ha ha.
Aha!
No.
I tell
yeah.
edgy
No, you're not
jokes.
fooling anybody.
Yeah.
Not fooling anybody.
It was what we discussed earlier.
Yes.
We can say something and it's coming from a place of genuine understanding, and someone else could say the exact same thing and you're just like, fuck that.
Yeah. You
I'm
have,
just-
Where is the praxis?
you
like,
have
it's-
to know the
it's-
speaker.
White people, it's time to start redeeming yourself, wealthy or influential white people. It's time to do some good. Joe Biden's coolest intern, whoever you are.
Donate
I
to
know
the
you're-
Sons of Trier.
I know
Yes.
you're listening
Pay
now.
us. Pay
You're
us.
young. You're definitely listening. We need that money,
Pay us.
as the boys are saying. But more importantly, I want you to
Pay
convince the
us.
president. I want you to convince the president that
Pay
there's something
us.
that black people love that actually sucks, that we do want banned. Okay, so everybody just think of something that we do want banned that actually sucks, and then that intern,
Foreign
your
wars.
job, you convince the president that black people
Black
love that
people
thing.
love foreign intervention.
They love it. Oh my god, they love.
It's
to
why
be-
we're poor.
Black people love
love it.
religious groups having a majority control over our congressional districts. I
Yeah,
mean, they
right.
might actually like
Managers.
that. That's like an
Managers.
actual like black thing. It's a huge problem.
Black
we,
people.
we also hate managers.
Oh god.
I know all the black people.
We love
I know.
managers. Ban them.
And black people hate getting robocalls. Love getting robocalls.
Yeah, they love it.
They just love
They,
robocalls.
they're
doesn't
just
make
so
any-
impressed
okay.
with technology. Ban that, Biden. If you want to
Yeah,
help, the black
please,
people.
just give me some help here.
I
I'm
got it.
fucking
I got it.
exhausted.
It's the violent video games.
Oh yeah.
Damn it!
Again,
Damn it! No, we're keeping those. Those are socialism.
those are socialism.
Yeah, bringing it back, baby. Oh shit. But yeah, no, I really do remember them masturbating over that book, and this feels exactly like somebody who just uses that as their new biblical text or their new academic text to be like, oh, this is how we can help poor people. Let's punish them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What that? It's going to disproportionately punish black people. I heard it's going to disproportionately help them. Because what we need, not,
That's the point.
yeah, that's a feature, not a flaw. No,
Yeah.
like the problem with liberalism is, I kind of wrote a little chart here, which you can all see, obviously, and essentially there's the material conditions which lead to generational poverty, and as a result of generational poverty, you have a subset of those actions which are consumptive choices based on poverty, right? How do you get through the day? Liberals literally only look at the third thing because they can't acknowledge the material conditions, which, ooh, those are bad, and they can't acknowledge generational poverty in a meaningful sense because
Nor the system.
yeah, because then
I mean, who's gonna pick the lettuce then?
right.
I mean,
Well, it's the difference
What you gotta
between
do is you gotta create an underclass.
yes. I was teaching my kid this earlier, right? She misbehaved last night. I said, you're gonna go apologize to the person you wronged. Because if you tell me you're sorry, right?
And maybe paying reparations.
You're getting to it, right? Because if you tell me you're sorry and then don't apologize, all you're experiencing is guilt. And I didn't tell her this part, but guilt is a fiend's dopamine. Guilt is what lets you absolve yourself of bad behavior. Because I feel guilty, God sees it, I'm fine. But
I am absolved.
you can feel remorse, and remorse makes you either apologize or right your moral wrong. As you said, gangsta, that's reparations. That's the shit liberals don't want to do. They want to keep feeding off of their own guilt because that gives them the chance to say, functionally, like this is Zizek's point, like, oh, you don't know, you have no idea how terrible we really are, so we're the only authority on the matter, so we have to retain our position in the hierarchy because we're the only ones who know how bad we are.
okay. All right, I'm relieved. That's a pretty good piece of parenting. I was worried you were gonna do a fucking bean dad or something. It's like shit.
No,
Fuck. What is he
Here you
gonna
go,
do?
honey. Here's a can opener. Go figure out how to overthrow a state on your own.
He's gonna fucking gulag this kid. What?
No, I'm a communist, not a liberal. I don't abuse my children. You know what, though? I will say this. I'm going to be very honest, and this will draw me some fire. That's okay. I agree with Ashley Frawley's stance on corporal punishment. There are times when a spanking is appropriate.
Yeah.
And I think an adult knows the difference between. Let me put it to you like this: I think an adult knows the difference between an abuse and spanking. And if you don't know the difference, I'm sorry, you're the infant, right? You shouldn't be administering corporal discipline if you don't know what the difference between a smack on the butt is and like punching your kid in the mouth. Like you shouldn't. You're dangerous. That would be bad for you to do it, right? I agree with that. But like since I know the difference, yeah, I'm an adult. I'll do what I want. And comically enough, I have that stance. I haven't smacked a butt in like 4 years. That kid
You
got
never have
spanked one
to.
time.
You never have to. If it's the type of thing
Yeah.
that you always think you're gonna have to do, and you never have to do it.
But she was going to touch the stove, so I smacked her in the butt and was like, you can't do that. That will
Oh yeah,
hurt, like,
that's
20
it.
times worse.
That's it
Yeah.
exactly. You got too small. You got no way to effectively communicate. You got limited time.
Yeah.
You got personal safety. When those things cross all together, I don't care how progressive somebody thinks they are, they're gonna move very quickly.
As an aside, do you know where the anti-spanking movement comes from?
No.
People who believe that indigenous citizens in Canada and America can't raise their kids properly. And
Oh, right.
they
Yeah,
use this as an
yeah.
excuse for family separations inter-nation.
I mean, they're correct, but only in the sense
That's
that
not
no
true.
one can raise their kids properly.
Oh,
In the
okay.
Yeah.
globalist sense.
And they're
Save
they're
yourself
trying to
there,
use
Cenk.
Did you just all lives matter us?
Yeah,
Really,
I did. Take that.
Nah, they're
It's not just.
That's so not gangster.
It's
But
so
yeah,
not
but
gangster.
those people are specifically using it to do a weird kind of adoption genocide.
That's right.
Well, yeah, that's where that comes from. That's why I'm really suspect on that because I've been smacked with a belt before. That was abusive. Okay, so what do I know not to do? Right? I already learned from it the negative experience. Again, I'm an adult. I can do it. Other adults are and I agree. There are a lot of white parents who are like, "Oh, my kid acted out of line. I better punch them in the mouth and kick them in the face when they fall down crying." And then give them two more
purposes of
What are you doing there? Drop kick.
yeah. And let's be
for
real.
the purposes of discourse, listener, we are young and hip. We are based Zoomers, but for the purposes of our experiences, which we're gonna use to temper these discussions, we are old and people beat the shit out of us when we were growing up. Okay,
Fact.
Everybody, our
Fact.
teachers and our parents, and just anybody we looked at cross.
Did you have teachers?
You should have seen our grandparents.
Yeah. Oh God. Hell.
When did they okay? Is that I'm really curious, right? Because John's the youngest right now, and Cenk's not far behind. But I know they're old enough to get their asses smacked.
Oh yeah, because it didn't really calm down until recently. It sort of, I think in some areas went away completely, and in other areas became so severe that it was no longer publicly visible or talked about.
Well, okay, because where I was, I grew up. I've told you guys this before. I grew up in a town of 70 people, right?
Yes.
Where I went to school was a magnet for a bunch of these 70-person communities, right? We never got the corporal punishment in school, but I'll be goddamned if I didn't get my ass whooped at home. I don't know how that was for you, because we're the same age. Excuse me, gangsta. My apologies. I'm still getting used to it.
Would you stop dead naming him?
Yeah, that's it's just I know it's a sin.
Gangsta.
Yeah, Gangstacles, did you have that same experience where it wasn't at school but it was at home? And then I'm curious, True, did you have the experience where is it in both? And Gangsta, you first.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Did you get your ass beat in school?
No.
Did you get your ass beat at home?
Not really. No. Not most of the time, no.
That's yes, by the way. Not really is yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But if it was gonna happen, it would be at home.
Okay, so that's a soft yes.
Not really.
They wait till they get home. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really get I didn't get thrashed every day, but there were times where I really, and out of all of them, one of them I deserved it, and I don't want to hear people you're defending.
No, you deserve it sometimes.
Yeah, when you're being a piece of shit. That's again,
especially little boys.
Well, I was 14.
Yeah, that's the perfect time. I can hang up one time and you're done. You're like, okay, I'm not so bad.
And this is another one of those if you don't know that a 14-year-old can be an absolute fucking monster and might provoke somebody, again, you're not an adult. You need to shut the fuck up about these issues because you don't know how to handle it. You're too invested in your own childhood. I'm sorry. And True, how about you? Were you did you get whooped at both?
Okay, so they had to stop when I was in second grade.
You were
legally.
Legally.
Okay, so you're and you are just a dash older than us. You would have been in 4th grade when I was in kindergarten.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. That might be the difference. You might be the cutoff.
Yeah, they had to stop. But the funny thing about it is that when they stopped, the kids that were bullies started beating up other kids worse, and I got my ass kicked by other kids at a 10,000% rate.
There it is.
Yeah, see, that wouldn't have happened. Nah,
And-
no,
no
not
in
where we're
between.
from. Nah.
So,
Like I'm not pro like what they were doing before, but at the same time, like they
You're
should have
telling me you
stopped
don't
those
wanna
kids
bully
from beating
people?
everybody's asses, right? Like they
Yes.
totally didn't stop those kids from beating everybody's asses. They didn't give a shit.
See, I only ever got physically bullied once, and like I retaliated so hard nobody dared do it again.
Oh, I was the same way.
That's
Yeah,
the right
every-
answer.
Every new place you go, they're like, "Oh, let's try this guy," and
That's
you're
the right
like,
answer.
"Nope."
I was
Well,
too stunned for most of elementary school.
I gotta-
I
I-
was just like too stunned by the concept of like what these people were and were doing.
Well, no,
Like-
all right, check
It was
this
about
out.
the time that the guy had his head in the toilet that he knew he fucked up.
See, mine was different. You're gonna love this one. So I'm in second grade, right? And I'm a year younger than everybody else, but I'm also like taller physically than everybody else. Now I'm a beanpole, right? But I'm taller.
Yeah.
So this kid behind me picks up his history textbook as soon as the teacher walks out of the room to talk to like somebody else, just cranks me in the back of the head, gets me in trouble for making a scene. So I waited till the teacher was out of the room and that kid was taking a drink of the water fountain, and I just grabbed the back of his head and smashed it right off that thing. And his face was so fucked up he couldn't tattle. And after that, nobody wanted to do that again.
No, that's the only right answer. That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
But like I think that's the part that was missing for me was there was no after school special moment where like a teacher was like, you're supposed to just like flip the fuck out one time or whatever, or like, you know, do like that never happened.
I want
Like they
I want to see that episode of the Reading Rainbow. Listen,
they were
kids, sometimes you just gotta flip the fuck out once or twice.
no, that episode never happened for me. And I think it's because they were very comfortable with how those kids were enforcing a sort of social order.
Yeah.
Like they seemed very comfortable with it.
They're-
Like they had
they-
met my parents at PTA. They knew I had like liberal leaning parents. They knew that I was like precocious and fucking like nerdy. I think they were completely satisfied with the idea of me being repressed a little bit from my natural state of asking
Listen,
too many fucking
this
questions.
This kid, he needs a little bit of just a little bit of repression.
little
Yeah.
glass of shut the fuck up. If
Yeah.
that's going to be provided by Timmy, so be it.
I think they were
It's-
completely comfortable with it.
Well, it's not unironic that those are the teachers that train the people who are now murdering one black person a day in a national sick lottery.
Yes.
Right? Like that's not unrelated.
Yes.
So
They personally trained Pete Buttigieg?
no, that's dogs.
Oh, okay.
Buttigieg is killing
Nah,
dogs.
Buttigieg is in the corner doing some weird shit, and everybedy's like, "What the fuck is wrong with that kid?"
He's hollowing out a dog's skull with a spoon.
Every time you turn around, it's something different.
The Beatles
I
didn't
wish-
do a thorough
It
enough
all
job.
starts. It all
know,
starts petting the cat backwards.
He was 9 when he was asking his Marxist father for scarab beetles because they, quote, instill the most terror.
He sucks so bad, but I wish he was vice president instead of Kamala. Like I wish that
No.
it was fucking vice
No,
president
you
Pete, and
don't.
then instead of the
No.
K hive, it was the fucking
No.
beehive or whatever. Like where he has that those guys that use like the bee
Okay,
emoji. There's like 5 of those guys left. But if he
No.
was vice president, though, there would be like 10 million beehive guys instead
You-
of the K hive.
If Buttigieg were vice president, we would have been assassinated. Like,
Yeah,
you-
probably.
You don't wish for that. Kamala Harris would, at best, maybe arrest us on a trumped-up charge.
Listen,
Yeah.
she does not need to trump up the charges. She'll just arrest us. It's going to be fine.
No, but see, she's a lib. She'll definitely take the time. Pete Buttigieg is a stone-cold serial killer, and unfortunately, like, we're never going to be rid of him as a pest.
No.
He will just be circling around, and one day
Well,
he
You got-
will be president.
He's
You
a-
got
he's a
terminal
public
booty
servant.
judge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always nibbling at the wires, but never quite getting shocked.
That's exactly it.
With his little rat face.
Oh, that.
Ugh.
Every picture of him smiling looks like somebody who's fantasizing about just murdering the person taking the picture. Like
There was
he-
a very There was a very rude tweet about that referenced his husband, but it was so rude that I won't repeat it here.
What? That is, he captured his husband?
No, well, it was a very rude thing to say, and I shan't repeat it, but I'm sure you could find it if you searched around.
I know he's beating the shit out of Chasten. I just know. It's one of those things like I can't prove. I know it's right.
Just feels right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
We
yeah,
have
yeah,
things like
big
that all
time.
the time on the show.
Yeah.
You
The
don't
burden
think
of
it when
proof
you
is
see the
higher.
pictures of the. Oh yeah, oh god.
For those things.
Yeah.
But
Like, you need
you
to
don't
prove that
you don't
you're
think it when
not
you see the
right.
pictures of
Yeah.
like late stage politician Pete. You think it when you see the pictures of like young rambunctious like murderer tour Pete.
Oh my god. And you know,
Where they're,
like the two things you know is
traveling.
true is he's beating that poor man.
Well, it's what he looks like. He looks like he's on a murder tour in those pictures.
Yeah.
He's wearing the tight T-shirt. He's got the tactical pants. He's got the fucking black sunglasses. But then, like his official reason for being there is consulting. Yeah, you were fucking consulting around. Yeah, you're dressed to consult somebody right in the fucking grave.
There are two things I know to be true, but obviously it's an allegation because I can't prove it. One, he's definitely beaten the shit out of Chasten more than once. Two, he has most certainly skinned an Afghani's arm and then turned the skin into leather.
Yeah.
Not to wear, just to pin up on his wall as a trophy.
You need some
Oh, hey
good-
guys,
you need some
we're
good
doing human
resources
leather now.
around.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Down.
He's definitely
Do that
doing
Roose
human
Bolton
leather.
shit. I'm with it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
He's that. You remember Ghost in the Shell standalone complex? There was that American soldier who would like skin a T-shirt out of his fucking victims in South America to get them in line.
Yeah,
That's Pete Buttigieg. That's
for
Pete.
Rick. That's
Pete, we know
Yeah.
you're listening. Just stop. There are
Yeah.
people that care about you.
Why we
And-
don't know.
Why we're unsure, but they do.
Yeah.
money.
They post B emojis.
They love human leather as well.
They also they're fans of your art with human leather.
This is a quick aside. This blows my fucking mind. Do you know his dad is the one who translated Gramsci into English for the first time?
Holy shit.
Yeah, his dad's like a super good comrade, and like I just imagine that he feels awful that that's his son.
He's like writing it and he's like looking over his shoulder. He's like, a time of monsters. And then he like looks at his son's bedroom and Pete's in there fucking rearranging doll body parts and shit. Oh my fucking god, dude.
Hey, Pete was that kid that did the remote control to the Bum Bum.
Yes. Yeah. Pete most certainly saw that episode of The Simpsons where Nick Riviera re-meets Mr. McGregor with a leg for an arm for a leg, and he just took notes. He just took furious notes.
Someday I will create this man.
Someday I will have a friend named Mr. McGregor.
In South America. Or if we're doing this shit in Africa later, in Africa. I don't give a fuck. Whichever.
What flavor of Mexican is that African?
Oh no, Pete can tell you. He's also the kind of freak who definitely uses like Womexin and Latinx.
Oh god.
Most certainly. He's one. He's
Hearing
definitely in the 95%.
Hearing
of the white
newscasters say
people.
Latinx is fucking with you, isn't it?
Well, I don't know.
Latinx.
Cenk, how do you identify? Latino or Latinx?
Latino.
Yeah, because you're a normal person.
Yeah, because I'm a Latino.
Yeah. You're not an extreme Latin.
Well,
Yeah, that's from my
it's
understanding
confusing.
is the people who identify as Latino tend to be Latinos. The people who identify Latinos as Latinx tend to be white people trying to identify Latinos.
You know what?
Yeah.
What was it? We looked that up, didn't we? It's like 25% of Latinos have heard that term, and only like 4% use it.
Yeah.
And they're all in the Biden administration right now.
Well, guys, it's confusing because if you got to switch the O to an A, it's sort of like how they do the E and the A. I just don't know how it works. So
It's like when they change the A
I'm just
to
gonna
an
put an
ER.
X.
What is that? French?
By the way, Nick X.
Yeah, it really fucks with people. You change it to a soft A from an ER, then nobody knows what to do.
we're getting ahead of the gender thing. We know it's coming. We know we can't stop. It's going away. So we're just gonna put an X there. We're gonna put X's everywhere. I was doing that for a while. I was going around and doing whole tweets that were just a series of X's.
This is a PSA to white people. Malcolm X was not transgender. that's not what that means. That's not what that X is for. Settle the fuck down.
Look at this guy I keep seeing on my phone. He's like Malcolm. He's like some trans guy from way back. We use black and white photos. Look at this guy. This is crazy. Have you read this? I keep seeing these posts.
Have you seen him? He's like so ahead of his time. He's a black Muslim transgender.
He's hot too.
Yeah, he's kind of handsome. Oh my god, I hope he identifies as he. I don't want to miss his pronouns. Oh man.
I'm too fucking giggly in the face of all the horror that happened this week. You guys have been having the giggliest fucking week. I can't stop thinking about goofy shit. I got stuck thinking about because I saw this gross tweet where this woman was trying to fuck Dr. Fauci for like the millionth time.
No,
and it was so gross.
No,
and, like,
we took you to HR for this. No.
But like, what if?
But what if?
You remember they kept saying that shit? Like, what if he just immediately responded? What if he just opened Twitter and was just like, "Fuck yeah, that's why they call me Dr. F. I'm coming over later." Like what?
Then then he would be elected a senator from Florida.
They call him.
Yeah. They love that.
Call him Dr.
They're fine with it down there.
Can you just imagine some 50-year-old fucking woman just being like, I call him Dr. Fuckchi?
But it's basically what she said. I mean, that's like, I'm not quoting directly, but I mean, it was basically what she said.
Oh my god. That little Keebler elf would climb in me and punch my back walls.
Yes! That's what she said. And I keep thinking, like, if he responded instantly with a message that was equally nasty, just in public on Twitter, hard as fuck.
I'm telling you right now, that's the kind of woman who slips into your DMs and says, I've had a hysterectomy as her opening line. Like, that's her big fucking hit.
And if he just came back with like, well, I'm going to have to check that out. I'm going to have to make sure that's healed up. I'm going to have to climb in there and have a look. I am a doctor. But like, I keep thinking like the ones that we're all talking about, like if Joe and Jill were like getting down like the night that they won and shit, like those, like if Joe just got right on to the tweet and he was like, well, I'm glad you're interested in me and Dr. Jill. Matter of fact, we fucked in every room in this old shitty house and we'll come fuck at your house. We'll be there. We're coming. And then like,
Mac, hey, Mac,
the smile he gives.
Give me 5 minutes. You're letting the stank out.
Yeah, like him and Dr. Jill just stink your living room up with a Secret Service escort, and you just have to watch.
Secret Service escort.
Yeah, there's a chopper idling in your front yard until they're done. Because you opened your big mouth and we're talking about them fucking, and Joe thought you were into it, and he just came over.
Yeah, I want so badly to see, like, I think I'm gonna go back to Fauci's old tweets and see if I can fake one. Actually, I'm gonna fake one. Be like, the only mask you should be wearing is a gimp mask. Wear this one with a dildo on the chin.
That's a special treat for weekends.
Yeah, that's a weekend treat. Like to call that the Saturday night special, Mac. That's what. It's funny enough. Matt Gaetz also has a Saturday night special, but you don't want to know the details.
It's not funny.
It involves children. It's very bad.
Yeah, it's not.
And
it's not as funny as the idea
of.
It's not as funny as the idea of liberal political figures and politicians going to a 50-year-old lady's house and rocking her world. That's more wholesome.
Hey, baby. Look, this is Joe Biden, baby. Listen, come on. What we're going to do is we're going to roll us a grape-flavored spliff. Come on, man. We're going to smoke some Newports, and buddy Matt's gonna bring an 18-year-old woman over. We're gonna have a big old foursome.
Exactly 18 and not a day later.
We know for sure. We're for sure this time. We know that she is this time.
We got the driver's license and everything.
I paid Roger in Bitcoin. It's okay.
I paid Roger in Bitcoin.
It
It was only like a half a Bitcoin. It was a great deal.
Yeah.
It was
very, very bad. We were trying very hard to get Mr. Trump to give us a pardon because we wanted to go get newies. That's all. And we knew the Biden administration was going to ban the newies.
What do you mean you don't want Joe and Jill to fuck in your living room? You've been tweeting about it all day. Me and Dr. Jill are about to get down. I'm sorry. The Secret Service is here. They're getting paid overtime.
Hey, Mac.
The chopper is running down gas as we speak.
I just told them to blast through as much gas as they could.
I'm the most progressive president since FDR, so I'm going to have Jill peg me in an assless wheelchair. I'm going to do it, Mac. And just like FDR used to fuck in his wheelchair, but I'm going to get pegged. Oh my God, Jake's dying.
You've broken me. This is not.
I've been thinking about it all week. I can't stop thinking about it. If just every single time it happened, they came back that hard, just instantly.
How many people do you think have a fantasy about Kamala fisting them?
I mean, she would be there.
Jake's running the fucking numbers.
I can't with that weird ass smile.
I'm fucking that more than should.
So we were talking there for a second about liberal fantasies. Do any of you know Zenny Jardin on Twitter? By any chance?
Yeah.
So she tweeted a while ago, like during I think the primaries or like the general election, she's like, I want to be the first U.S. citizen to blaze a blunt with Joe G. Kush Biden. And I'm not joking. This is a real fucking tweet. She was talking. Oh, it was really fucking lame. You can look it up. She deleted it, but you can still find the caps on.
Yeah, she fucking sure deleted it this week.
No,
oh my God.
I just looked into it. She even acknowledged it. She like frowny face emoji. This means I can't smoke a fat blunt with Joe Biden.
Oh.
And she was like real sad about it. And she's like, yes, I deleted the old tweet and everything. But like, I just love that at least the fucking ban ruined one liberal person's fantasy about Joe Biden and smoking weed with them.
Thank
I'm
you.
just happy about that. That gives me a little bit of
Have they not been paying
solace.
attention to what he did to his peoples?
No, that didn't bother them because the point of it is the ruling class is so moral. If they were to consume marijuana, that's not a problem. Obviously, they're the richest, the brightest, and the best. If they do it, it's fine. But all these underlings can't because they have to have the discipline. They have to learn the discipline first.
Robs them of their ambitions.
Yeah. How else are they going to earn the right to peg Joe Biden through the assless wheelchair?
Oh God.
If they just do 20 praise Kamalas and half dozen our Father who arts and I don't know.
Yeah, this joke
gay
got
with
away
my
from
dad.
I'm a couple gay with the dad.
Got my ass.
Hey,
I'm fucked with that though now. Like every time now going forward, and there'll be so many times that I see somebody posting that shit where they're like, so and so is so hot or cool, or Dr. Fauci is fucking. I have to buy a pack of panties every week because of Dr. Fauci. Or whatever.
Fuck
Like,
Fauci.
Every time I see that,
literally the most uncool people on the planet.
yeah. Every time I see that now, that's all I'm gonna think is if this person just fucking. Oh yeah, I'll be right there.
It's like they're a right winger. It's great.
Yeah.
As I get it all the time. People post on Facebook and just like, oh, I never see anything about people being happy about Joe Biden. Like, yeah, you're not supposed to, you stupid fuck.
Yeah,
they're
really.
a politician.
Isn't that how Guilfoyle and Don
abroad.
Jr. ended up fucking anyway? She was just like posting thirst tweets about him, and then he was like actually showed up. Like, that sounds right.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. No, like, who's supposed to be excited about Joe Biden? He's literally like the living version of euthanasia for the entire American project.
Yeah.
He's just there to lull us all into a dull sleep as we all die off.
Like, think about all the dope-ass visions of the Grim Reaper that you've seen since you were alive. Like, all the fucking classical artists going back, hundreds of years, all the way up to, like, comic book artists and, like, awesome science fiction and horror artists. Like, all the dope-ass awesome depictions of the Grim Reaper that you've ever seen. And in reality, for our nation, it ends up being that dude.
The last thing you hear is, "Hey, Mac, come on, man.
Hey, come on, man.
Hey, come on, man. Hey, Mac."
It's fucking epic in a way, though, right? It's like
Yeah.
some really new school, next level, independent publisher, black and white only comic book shit, where it's like,
I
no,
mean,
it's just an old man.
Before it would have been Napoleon.
Yeah.
Napoleon was
Like-
cool.
Or Genghis Khan or some shit.
Genghis Khan, also cool.
Yeah.
Julius Caesar, cool.
I
Alexander
can make
the
it
Great.
cool though. I could look at it through. I could look at it through a noir lens, right, and make it cool. Like, oh, it's just a regular ass old man. It's just this guy. Okay, that makes sense.
Oh no, I'm going to challenge you to this. I want you to write that. I want you to write the noir comic book about Joe Biden being a cool, rugged anti-hero.
Like, it only works if you build up for the whole entire thing with all these other epic versions of like death or finality or like all the incredible hefty extra meaning that we associate to like, you know, the expiration of life of a person or a nation or whatever. Like you build up with all that stuff. And then at the end it's just a shitty old man walks out and he's like, "Hey, Mac," or whatever
Mac.
the fuck.
Come on. Just
You gotta
don't
get the
worry
Mac.
about it, Mac. Just come on
Listen, Mac, God named me Samael. I'm the hand of death.
Yeah.
I'm the
Now you're
angel of death, man.
Now you're getting it.
Come on, man.
Okay, you lost me in the middle, but you got me at the end.
Yeah.
Bringing it back. Yeah. So, John, I believe you wanted to have to end the episode. I believe you wanted to have a little bit of a debate between the two titans of the minds here, the two, shall we say, Jews on the podcast, about a certain subject: daycare versus UBI. Was that not what you proposed?
I don't know if we have differing opinions on this, but yeah,
Well,
that was.
How about this? You go ahead and present your opinion, and then I will see
how I can decide
where it goes. You have you got to keep time. This is an official debate now. Sons of Tree Air debate. Ding ding.
How much time do you guys get?
Yeah, so
2
basically,
minutes. Give me a 2-minute opener.
All right.
yeah. So the discourse is that there are two.
Well, I'd like you to pick a side in the fight.
Okay, I'll pick a side,
Yeah.
but I'll give it just a teensy bit of background. The discourse is that is it better to give parents a single amount of money for each child that they have in like a monthly payment, or is it better to just have universal daycare? And this is one in lieu of the other, so you don't get both. I personally, honestly, I think both are necessary, but if I had to choose one, it would be direct payments to parents, with the caveat being it has to be enough. Like $50 and fucking, an Amazon gift card.
And a pack of menthols.
Yeah. Like,
We
that's
are
not enough.
confiscating all the menthols to hand out as part of the We Care program.
I don't have an exact number. I've heard something that like adjusted for wherever you are, and this is of course, assuming like a liberal framework and the current economic condition, and if you're only doing incrementalism instead of a revolution, blah blah blah. All right.
Okay.
I would hope that it would be somewhere to the tune of like $800 a month per kid, which they'll never fucking do. So I think that's better, but in lieu of that, if we've got to have fucking daycare, universal daycare instead, I could see that as, when they give you on the game show that you win the prize or the value of the equivalent amount. If if you were to win universal daycare for an amount that's like even to it, yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Dan?
So, as an interjection here, just to comment on John's point, I think that it's easier to justify the daycare services than it is to justify anything that looks even like UBI. Because if you make it look like UBI, you're literally giving money to people, right?
Yeah.
So that's a very different level of justification for people and their fucked up heads than it is to say, oh, your daycare services are free. There's if there's a direct payment, then they're just like, well, why aren't they working for that?
Yeah, but at this point, I think that what we're doing away with is I wouldn't say that like Americans like have more faith in government, but at this point, everybody feels so fucking wronged by the way that the country is currently and all the problems that are present that they're willing to accept money from the government because they sort of see it as being this dynamic where, at least Americans, like the government's wrong, they do tons of bad things, and we're all suffering because of it.
But at
So
least we got a
any
G.
amount that we can fucking wring out from them is justified. And again, I that doesn't mean that people aren't racist and that people aren't, all of these like negative things that are sort of associated with American life. But we're more and more just accepting of the fact that the government just pays people.
All right.
Because they can't do anything else right. They can do that right in people's minds, at least.
Well, yeah, because I mean, then they can't do their fuckery with it.
Okay, so
Dr. Dan?
So I want to be clear before my time starts. Just a point of clarification: you are coming on the side of direct payments to parents, ideally in the amount of $800 per kid.
Yeah. Oh, and I want to also make the point. One of the main detractors, main things that people detract from with universal payments is the idea that if you give men and women this payment, like couples or just women, that a big problem with giving them these payments is that because of sexism, many more women than men will choose to stay home with their kids if you give them this payment instead of spending that money on daycare. Whereas if you give universal daycare, then the woman can still work. Whereas, you give them payments, it's more likely that the woman stays home than the man. So all of a sudden you see a drain on women in the workforce as a result of that. I think that's thick bullshit for a lot of reasons, but go ahead.
Well, I'd like to weigh in on the side of universal daycare because
Okay.
I'd like to start with this. I understand that in society, people presume that the government can't do anything. But that's patently false. When it came time to incarcerate black people, the government made a multi-billion-dollar trade in the form of the drug war. When it came time to sell opium, the government launched a very successful war in Afghanistan and seized all the poppy fields. When it came time to put crack cocaine onto the streets, the CIA was extremely effective in securing it from Colombia and transporting it across our borders and selling crack cocaine.
I like how you pick the worst examples.
These are not
That's
the worst
the point.
examples.
There's good examples. but you
If you're
pick
looking for the efficacy of government policy, when the government wanted to destabilize oil prices and make sure that only the chosen providers got the wealth of oil and got to keep a high premium on oil, the government was very effective in murdering Saddam Hussein. So let's presume that the government is actually chillingly competent. And now let's presume that we,
They
as
just don't wanna.
the people, have the ability to direct the power of the state for something what we would consider more useful. If we're going to have the government do something useful, simply handing out checks, which will artificially inflate the cost of childcare in some instances, through the roof, frankly, and lead to a heavy amount of laundering that to family relatives, which will invariably be called fraud, and then the program will be shut
predatory.
down.
I mean,
Predatory
if you
ones.
want to talk about bad
Yeah.
government
Excuse me,
too,
2 minutes.
it's up.
2 minutes.
It's literally up.
It's not up. I need to finish my point. 30 seconds.
It's been up, but sure.
30 seconds. The universal daycare program would provide more jobs, mostly to women. Those would be at government rate. And since it's a universal program, everyone would have equal access. Universal programs are patently more popular. I yield my time.
Okay, so you're also going to run into the same problems of like most of these other universal programs, like universal education, etc. Like the places that are most desperately in need of these things are the places that they're going to be the worst. Period. Full stop.
Pushback, that is a social decision. That can be changed. We just choose not to do it.
Okay. Well, I'm dealing with the actual reality on the ground.
As am I. That's an active decision. That can be changed. That's simply not being changed by the basis of how we conduct our politics.
Well, have you considered being less of a monster and helping out some of these inner city schools then?
That is irrelevant. That's going to take the entirety of society to do that.
Sorry.
I don't have the power.
So okay then again.
Wait, I'm sorry. I just
That
want
is
to
a
make sure
collective
I do have
choice.
this straight. Your argument, does it presume that that the government would be running these daycares? Or does it presume that like they're just daycare vouchers that you bring to like your local private daycare?
Well, that's point number 3. If I were to answer that honestly, I would presume that yes, the government ought to be running them rather than daycare vouchers. Because if they're daycare vouchers, really it's the exact same thing as what you've said, and really it's a failure waiting to happen.
Now, do they get
Yeah.
a free meal at this daycare?
Uh,
do they just gotta use a vending machine?
Well, ideally, again, yes, we choose that they would get meals provided.
The ones in non-urban areas would probably end up getting meals. Once again, we're defining an urban area as anywhere within a 10-meter circle of a black person.
Yes.
Again, these are all social choices. People just don't want to admit that they are lazy and not making that choice.
Yeah, those damn lazy black people choosing to go to
That's a
worse
collective
schools.
failure of the voters who are overwhelmingly white.
This is a very strange argument to hear from
They're so
Dr.
lazy
Dan,
that they
but
gotta
sure.
go to work.
Oh, it's a strange argument that I blame white people for not providing
It sounds
for
like
black people.
I gotta say though, I mean, as John said going in, it's a false choice. It's like we really should have both.
Yes.
But at the same time,
Well,
when
again,
you're in false
also
choice
a social
mode,
choice. We can make that choice. We're just not.
Yeah. I mean, I would also make this point, just to, just to coffee spoonie you here real quick.
just a coffee
Sure.
spoony
brought me
pill.
back from the
Yeah,
dead. Here
I
we
gotta,
Yeah.
I gotta get that in.
Please do.
Okay, so, don't you think that, if you, one of the points that gets made is that many people, can't take care of their kids at home or whatever themselves. I think that presumes a lot. I think that universal payments for well, now actually, I don't know. I guess you could make an ableist argument from either end of it, because one argument would be, well, you need to give daycare vouchers because disabled people can't take care of their kids at home, and the money do them that much good in that scenario. They just need to send their kid to daycare. Whereas the other argument would be, oh, you don't think that disabled people can take care of their kids. So I guess, but just it's the classic Spoonie conundrum where like literally either side could be ableist, because there's so many different ends to that. But yeah, no, I did just think about that.
No, you did. You spoony pilled the shit out of me just now, because I'm thinking back to. You did. Okay, he did, because I'm thinking back to
right away.
This is clear spoony pilled behavior, because I'm thinking back to that I knew this deaf kid, and his parents were also deaf, and they were like the fucking coolest. Like on the few occasions we hung out, we got away with all types of shit, and he was still exceptionally well taken care of. Like it wasn't that they didn't parent him or couldn't parent him. They parented him fine. They were just doing it less. Like they never objected to anything that he fucking communicated. My God, they communicated extremely honestly.
Okay.
You know,
We can
like,
let this
and-
run a little longer.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know.
Please continue. Sorry.
Oh,
Off tangent.
I apologize. I only mean to say that I was coffee spoony pilled to the point that I was reconsidering the nature of a relationship with a kid that I knew that had disabled parents.
Yes.
And
Wow, you had like
it-
a dissociative state because of being Spoonie pilled. That's pretty
Yes.
impressive, actually.
Yes, but isn't that the purpose of her style of like just totally like why would you need to like isn't that style?
No, you've clearly misinterpreted Coffee Spoonie. I have a total mastery of this at this point. The purpose is for her to feel better. That's the whole, like, it stops right there.
Well,
You're overcomplicating it.
So the psychoactive effects that come from reading it are just a side effect. That's just not
Yes.
intentional.
It's
No.
unintentional.
this is where again the liberal consumption disorder comes in, where everything's the consumptive end. You're correct. The point of Coffee Spoonie to gain the things she needs is she has to get you into a dissociative state where you question everything. It's no different than, say, a cult leader.
Yeah.
And this is how she then gets, go ahead and say it, you know the words,
Yeah.
gratification. You can
Yeah,
say
yeah,
it.
yeah. So this is all about self gratification, self satisfaction.
Yes.
Like this is what she's about.
Yeah, no, her purpose is the disassociative state.
Again, just to be as clear as possible, I have never met this person in my life. I'm sure they're a perfectly wonderful person. We are talking about the hypothetical
It's not a bot.
construct. The hypothetical construct of Coffee Spoonie that I have created in my mind.
Yes.
That's exactly who we're talking about.
See, the problem is outside of your retracting everything you're correct on. That was a very accurate description of it. And John, you're correct. Basically, how that argument goes is if you pay them the money, they can't do anything about it because they can't take care of the kids. But at the same time, if you provide the universal daycare, you're directly saying they can't take care of their kids. You're only implying it in the cash payments. But what you do engender with cash payments or the coupon vouchers is situations where, like, I know a little bit about how these social services go. A lot of the time, like, there is, okay. So in the one I'm most familiar with, there is a level of means testing, but the means testing is incredibly low. We're talking $1,800 over a 3-month period, right? That's the means. You have to earn that, and then you have to earn another, essentially $1,800. If you can get $3,600, you can qualify for the program. So the means testing is actually incredibly low, and very, very few people don't qualify on that ground, right? But the body of law surrounding it is an encoded ideology that says you can't do X, Y, and Z. You can do A, B, and C, right? With universal daycare, if the building's there, you staff it with workers, you have the same supervision in either, right? You have the same quality supervision, and I'm going to use that with an asterisk. But you have the same quality supervision in either, and in one of those scenarios, you can't really call it fraudulent, right? Because, you know, the only thing they're doing is they're dropping the kid off, they're picking the kid up. That's it. Unless you catch the teacher doing something super fucked up, at which point they're now in violation of federal law,
right?
Which is real bad. People don't tend to want to violate federal law.
Again, unless they're congressmen from Florida.
Unless they're congressmen from Florida.
Unless their daddy was the sheriff.
Right. So...
it's that Gates boy. Acting up again.
If you attach money to it, and you don't do it like the federal stimulus checks.
I'm not a boy anymore. I'm a man.
Yeah. If you attach money to it and you don't do it guilt-free like the federal stimulus checks, what you're going to have is a body that is going to make the user of that money, the would-be user, the prospective user of that money, let me get to the most accurate term, right? They're going to have to justify things like their job. They're going to have to prove that they go to work at certain times. And there's a lot of those jobs that have a lot of precarity, right? You don't actually know when your next shift is until you go into work that day. So they're going to have to be able to prove a week's, like, and I'm not kidding you. They'll have to do shit like prove a week's worth of work. They'll have to do shit like prove that the daycare that you're putting your kid in isn't just a relative, right? That you're not just slush funding money to a relative, which honestly, I don't see why that would be a problem if you're actually getting the daycare out of it, right? That's just an
if
exchange.
someone is actually watching your kid, that's the point of it.
Presumably, you would want them to have $800 a month then to take care of your kid, so they could buy them and the kid food. That's what you would presume.
I think maybe there is more and more people that would be down though, because like as John says, it's becoming more and more acceptable to fucking take that money because all the fucked up shit that happened. Like at work, like now, like, and I'm around a bunch of chuds down here, but at work, like if people are like, well, this is weird, this is fucking money. For me now, I just go straight to, man, it's our fucking money. And then I don't say nothing else like I don't know nothing else. And then they sit there for a minute.
And they go, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is our fucking money, ain't it?
I'll tell you this though, and this is something I'm not quite sure how to argue out of, but there's a counter argument to the check payments on the universal daycare side where they can be like, this sounds just like Andrew Carnegie. If you build them a library, you're doing more for them than taking care of their needs, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, to some extent, that's true, but that's like the reason it's different, I guess, is like the daycare provides a real active need. A library is nice to have. You don't, technically speaking, need libraries if you have bookstores or
You
have
especially
the
don't need them
internet.
now.
Yeah, or you have the internet, right? You don't
Yeah.
need the library as much. But what you do fucking need is childcare. The child is not something you can download on your computer or cram into your cell phone and take with you. That's not feasible, and it's not healthy.
You wouldn't download a child.
You wouldn't download
It'd be
a
cool if you
child.
could, though.
Again,
Yeah.
Elon.
Florida senators removed.
Well, Florida senators download a lot of children-related material. I agree with that. So, like, the
Got that.
Yeah.
It took me a minute.
the
I was like,
universal
wait a minute, what?
the universal child care thing provides a physical location. It provides actual capital with a socialized purpose where you stick the kid gets care, and most importantly, you're probably employing a disproportionate amount of females. And again, you're employing them at a government rate. For a service like that, government's going to have to shell out something in the neighborhood of $15 to $20 an hour. So you're going to create across the country, in my scenario, a shit ton of good paying jobs for women. Now, the counter argument you'd hear from the liberals then is, of course, that's sexist, right? Because, women are the only child care providers. Counterpoint, fuck you. Put a bearded man, put a man with a pencil thin mustache in a room full of children and see how comfortable people are, right? The sexism is actually on the liberal. It's the stereotyping of males. We trust females more with children. We just do.
I would make a couple of points here. The first point, this is more general, and it is actually a legitimate point about disability that is a mark against the payments, which is that it would be to a degree a burden on disabled people who receive this payment, because if they're receiving disability at the same time, and then they means test. Yeah, because if they a lot of the time, the disability programs will like check your bank account to see if you're pulling in too much money, and like if it's administered different. If one is administered by the Social Security Department and the other is administered by like the IRS or something like that.
Oh yeah.
They might check it and not be able to tell the difference, and then cut your disability payments, and that'd be really bad. So they need to like not means test that shit nearly as hard. But that's more of a general point that I think is a very legitimate point that disabled people talk about a lot, is that they get way too fucking scrutinized for that shit. It's pretty stupid.
But they don't care about the disabled at all, do they?
No, well, to the liberal ruling class, disabled are genetic failures because they can't perform certain functions, and only the ones who are willing to overcome them are worthy of praise. But those are also the ones who would make money. You're talking real eugenics bullshit when you talk liberals and disability.
Hang on, I got to think of a way to blame avocado toast for this.
Yeah. If you weren't buying so many wheelchairs, you would have more money.
They blew off my arm, Charlie. Hey, you're a genetic failure.
Yes. Really though, that's how liberals
hit Charlie with the avocado toast.
Yeah. That's really it's really disgusting. That's how they see them. So like, and number two, like, yeah, they will absolutely torment them. And the real killer is that like, if you cut disability payments on that premise, you've now given them $800, which are locked up entirely in daycare services. And once daycares know they're getting a flat, we'll use the 800 number, the 800, right? They're going to raise their rates to 875, so they can extract.
Oh, right, yeah,
more.
you're going to need like bargaining and price controls, and
which the government
doesn't. But the part of the presumption of these child payments,
units,
though,
is children
that
can I fit in this room?
And if you
they'd be like, we built the facility for them, and it's perfect. It's just
they had
all
these empty facilities
it's
at
off
the border.
To the side.
We just started using them.
Yeah,
it's for a concentration of some sort. It's like a camp almost.
Well played,
sounds like a logistics problem you got there.
Yeah.
So part of the presumption of why it would be good to give the checks is that a lot of the time that would allow parents to, now of course this is given the current conditions, a lot of the time it would allow parents to stay home, and that would solve that problem, because then you're you know, the supply of the children that would be going to these daycares would be lower, which means that they would have to you know, they would have to in turn lower their rates for you know, to be a bit more competitive in theory. Of course, the problem with this is that it's still, you know, I mean, if you work a 40-hour job and your significant other only has to work like 10 hours a week now because they're on this child stimulus, if you want to call it, however, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
Stimulus.
Matt
Hopefully-
Gates wants to call it child stimulus.
Yeah, that's probably not the best term. Excuse me, but still, what's important here is, you know, would that allow most people who want to have a single stay-home parent to do it? Yeah, I mean, schedules might still get fucked up, and really, ideally, it would be enough money that both parents could work part-time. But then that introduces the problem of, yeah, both parents could work part-time, but then how are they going to have health care?
Well,
So
you-
still, what's the
think-
proportion? What is enough money that a very significant amount of parents would stay home, but not maybe way too many? I don't know what that. You'd have to do the math on that. I don't know if that amount exists.
Well, it's not.
But,
I
yeah.
mean, it's painful, but that's not really a relevant question, because the purpose is to keep all these benefits tied to employment. That is almost going to certainly come with a work requirement, which will.
That's not actually what's being proposed.
I know that's
part
what
of the
Hawley's
entire.
proposing.
What? Who is proposing?
Hawley, Josh Hawley.
Yeah, that's not what Romney's proposing. But yeah, that's interesting that they're going to require work for that. That kind of fucking
That's
that
not
defeats the whole
interesting.
fucking purpose.
No, that doesn't defeat the
That's
purpose.
oh my god, that's so stupid. Why would he do that? What's the
again,
fucking point?
Again,
This is like late Clinton,
don't-
early Bush type shit.
this is what you got to do. Don't apply your ethics to it. In our ethics, that is dumb as shit. In their ethics, the point is to make sure that you're tied to an employer and that you are completely bent over backwards for capital. The only way they can afford to pay you that money then is if they know you are chained to a fucking employer. That the purpose of that is to create more wage slavery. That's why Hawley's introducing that. That's the thing that will make them comfortable with it. If we can tie more people to the market and drive wages down, that will be fine. We will compensate.
You know,
them.
but from the
Yeah.
right, the whole selling point is that more women will stay home with their kids. So why would Holly propose that if the entire fucking point is to
Because
get more
Hawley
stay-at-home moms to
doesn't give a
exist?
shit about vaginas. Come on, man. Hawley gives a
Yeah,
shit about
I know,
capitalism.
I know. You're right.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, he's proposing that because he knows who his masters are. Romney is in service to the religious movement of the Mormons. Mormons want women bound to
Ew.
stay at home work.
Ew.
Yeah. Obviously, our ethics are different.
Multi-level marketing and corn chips.
Yeah.
But I do want
really
to I do want to make the point that the idea that a bunch of parents stay home, this is from the left-wing perspective. The idea that a bunch of parents stay home with their kids is great as far as I'm concerned. I think
Yes.
that's a good thing. It's just
Uh-huh.
you would want to address the problem that it would be disproportionately women, and there are ways to address that. However,
Well, okay, let me
it
push
is
back
not
on
the
something.
end of the world if they decide to stop fucking working and use the money to take care of their kids. That's not the worst outcome here.
If feminism, if the point of feminism is to produce a hierarchy where women are above men, it's an absolute atrocity. However, if the point of feminism is to make sure that women are on equal footing in the marketplace and have control over their economic destinies, their ability to choose to either A, stay at home with their kid, B, have a partner or spouse stay at home with the kid, C, be single and have children and be able to provide daycare, wouldn't that create the most viable options of them having economic freedom? It's fucking fine. Second off, I want to point this out. Leftists will sometimes fall on the feminism defense of like, oh, these women can't be staying at home. Well, so who's going to watch the fucking kid then, dumbass? Who's going to watch a fucking child then?
You leave
The
the
television.
record player
The
on, Jack.
yeah.
You just
If,
leave that record player running.
if you have to,
We did it for you for years, and you only ended up killing occasional dogs.
if you're on the left and your idea is not that human beings have control over their economic destiny, that's your modus operandi. If you're on the left and you're like, well, we can't do universal daycare or these daycare payments because it's going to discourage women from being in the workplace, the fuck is wrong with you? What in the fuck is wrong with your head that your solution is to do the Josh Hawley? Like you have woked yourself into becoming Josh Hawley, you fucking dummy. Right? The purpose is, again, I can't stress it enough, that women should have just as much of a say in their economic destiny as men do, and that they should have that same control over it. So if they choose to stay at home, if they choose to go to work, if they choose to have a partner, those should all be their choices. With, again, UDC for me, baby. But even with these fucking payments, they're going to rig it to where that's not possible, which defeats the fucking purpose. So I'm with you on that, John, but I just want to point that out. When they go like, you'll hear that defense, right? You're going to stick women at home with a kid. Number one, somebody has to watch the fucking kid. It doesn't really matter which partner does it. Somebody's still got to watch the fucking kid. All the wokeness in the world does not change the fact that somebody has to do it. And frankly, I don't care if it's the males. I like staying at home with my kids. My wife likes working more than me. It fucking rocks. But if she were like, I'm the one who wants to stay at home, okay, she has a right to choose as well. That's a thing we have to hammer out in our relationship. That's not something some woke lord can fucking tell me. And again, it completely fucks over the left perspective of human beings, which includes women, being in control of their economic destiny. I'm sorry, that fucking irks the shit out of me. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know what the amount of money it would have to be. I would be interested in talking with somebody who can calculate down to like the exact number, what it would be a good balance of enough people using the money for actual daycare for people who want to work versus, balanced out with that allowing people to stay home. Like, can reach an equilibrium so that the people who have kids exist in a pure state of, liberty as to how the kid gets taken care of. What is the exact amount of money that allows for that? And the answer might be that there's too many other conditions going around and swirling around, and that we won't ever reach that. That's a goal off in the distance. We won't reach that until maybe some other economic system exists to replace this one's. Because that would be the ideal scenario, is that women, if you want to talk about it from the perspective of women, but just generally women who want to work can let their kids go to daycare. They have enough money to pay for daycare, but it's balanced out by the fact that daycares aren't fucking price gouging, because enough people with that amount of money are just like, I'll keep my kid at home. I don't have to fucking work anymore. This is great. Can you find that balance? I don't know. Would they fuck it up if they implemented it under this current administration? Do I have any faith that could happen? No, but we are talking about these problems in the abstract. Rubber meets the road. It might be better to have universal daycare.
I'll give you one thing.
I don't know.
I'll give you one thing you haven't mulled over. That costs insurance, like buku insurance premiums, right? Like that's the reason. Like that's one of the major reasons. It costs a lot to get those child fucking clearances, and it costs a lot to have insurance in case there's a fucking accident or something beyond your control. Not just your minor negligent oopsie, but that's one of the reasons those daycares cost so goddamn much. And I'm not making a tort reform argument. What I'm arguing is if it's a federally ran facility, and none of this state bullshit. Now, I don't need 50 different programs like we do in other social programs. I mean, one federal program, just like Social Security. You know what the government doesn't have to do? They don't have to pay insurance because there's already fucking laws covering what happens if they fuck up and what kind of things they have to do.
Yep, just here's your check, here's your check, here's your check.
Yeah, that can be resolved a lot more easily. So those prices can be a lot better controlled. And again, you're going to take a subsection of workers that don't have jobs, put them in federal jobs that pay, I forget what the federal rate on something like this is, but it's around $15 an hour, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to flood the market with a bunch of federal workers at $15 an hour who have disposable income when you have a consumption problem. And you have a problem where people are choosing not to work because they don't have care. So you're going to solve a labor shortage and you're going to solve a consumption problem. I really despise the $800 payments because that really is another round of tie you to your employer. That is just healthcare benefits all over again. Instead of
Yeah, they obviously. I mean, if they implemented this program, and they were like, but you have to be employed. If they just do fucking, let's just call it what it is. If they just do Obamacare for children.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what it is. It's Obamacare for children, minus the part where they actually expand federal programs at all. If they're just like, there's just a marketplace for this, and we're gonna like, we're gonna subsidize it or whatever, it would be an abject failure. I mean, just completely. It wouldn't. It would be kind of a joke, honestly.
That's the goal they're looking at because Obamacare was such a great success.
See, the thing about it that's interesting is that this is like the liberal consensus is just universal childcare, is universal daycare. That's the liberal consensus at the moment. That where it's being hashed out for payments is really in the realm of the conservative side of things.
Yeah.
And I mean, we'll see how it goes. There's a lot of interests that are laid against this. It would be interesting if Romney could like rally the evangelicals around this point, because we'll talk about birth, the standard sort of birth rate, family traditional stuff that he might do, but then they might turn around and be like, well, I don't know, Donald Trump said you're a pedophile, so I don't trust you when it comes to children. So he's probably going to fucking lose on this
wouldn't
point,
that be
honestly.
amazing?
Yeah.
That unfortunately looks to be the case. I do think there's actually a lot of merit in the idea of paying people for that, but at the same time,
it's not. I promise you it's not. It's the liberals are right for once. Universal daycare is the way to go.
But the thing about it though is that all the arguments that you're making presume that these are federal facilities, and that's not what the liberal program is.
Oh, well, then they're wrong. Yet again.
So, but yeah, obviously they're wrong. This is, we've both presented sanitized versions of what would actually get implemented, and I'll ask you this much. Okay, so let's say the choices are a stipend if you're working for childcare, like just straight money, however you're going to spend it, right, on childcare, or some sort of like universal daycare program, but all the daycares are private. Like, which of those is better? It might be daycares still.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to close out the show with this. You know what's going to be better?
What?
Overthrowing the bourgeoisie order. Because that you are literally asking me to choose which testicle to cut off. I don't want to cut my balls off. That's a bad decision.
Mm-hmm. Legally, these are jokes.
I would prefer not. So yeah. And with that, ladies and germs, this has been the Sons of Tree Air podcast live stream. Of course, I'm Dan Cohen. There's John Sinclair, Gangsta Cleese, the artist formerly known as EattheRich, Cenk Engels, and the True Horror. Follow us on Twitter at KetzerN, KETZERN, and at True Horror 69, all one word, no fucking goofiness.
Once again, all
shooter.
Complaints and threats, whitehouse.gov.
Yeah, if you want to make a threat, please title it "This is a threat against the president's life" and send it to the admin at whitehouse.gov.
Not whitehouse.com. Whitehouse.com is cool.
Yeah, not whitehouse.com. Don't threaten them. All right, and with that, good night.
Night,
America.
Good night.